Do you like wrestling? Do you ever watch wrestling?
No. Nope.
And The Rock said, whoa, 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 whoa. Because I'm still standing here, custom made, brother. Woo! And I mean custom made. From the alligators to the only Cassini right here, Ric Flair. There's only one.
We're not the kind of guys that say, we told you so, but we told you so.
Yeah, no thank you from the Young Bucks.
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman.
You know who I am.
What's up, gang? Welcome to Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. My name is Mike Wellman. Thank you for hitting that play button. We appreciate you here, as always. This is episode 61 of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. On this episode, we are going to be reviewing AEW Forbidden Door. What an epic show it was. Omega and Ospreay's all-time classic, Danielson's submission over Kazuchika Okada, Satoshi Kojima's elbow to CM Punk's cock. Tons of stuff happened at Forbidden Door that we're going to talk about. We're also going to be previewing WWE Money in the Bank, which goes down this weekend. We're really just going to be giving our predictions because by the time you listen to this, it might already be time to put on Money in the Bank at 3 p.m. on Saturday. So that's what we're going to be talking about on this episode. I am joined, as always, by the second row superstar, wrestling fan Chris, a.k.a. Notorious KRS. What's up, Chris?
What is going on? Glad to be back again, ready to not care about some Chikara BS.
Nice. Don't tell Eddie Kingston that. And what do you mean, Chikara BS? That was an interesting storyline. It's just that they're still doing it.
Hey, we'll see. I want to say that I wouldn't say that to Eddie Kingston's face, and I like Eddie Kingston. That's all I'm going to say.
I wouldn't say it to his face, but I'll say it here.
That's right.
On the internet. Yeah, so we got a lot to get to. This Forbidden Door show was amazing. Money in the Bank is coming up this weekend. We're going to give our predictions for Money in the Bank. And I know wrestling fan Chris is not going to like my proclamation on what's going to happen at Money in the Bank. But, yeah, we got a lot to get to. Also, we're going to talk about that Season 2 trailer for Heels. Just came out today. But before we go any farther, that's right. We need you to be kind, like, and subscribe. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. You already know where you can find this podcast because you already found this podcast, whether it was on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the soon-to-be defunct Stitcher platform. You already know where you can subscribe to What the Game's Been Missing. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. You can also find us on social media. Follow us on Facebook. We see you out there, Facebook followers. We see you, Facebook community. We are at W Wrestling Pod on Twitter. Had some great tweets going out the door during Forbidden Door. And if you are so inclined to support the podcast financially, we encourage you to check out our Patreon and choose a tier that fits. We have the Foundation tier, the Click tier, and the gang affiliated tier. Guys, you can get gang affiliated. You can be part of the Watch Wrestling gang. No, you already are part of the Watch Wrestling gang just by subscribing. But if you're so inclined, you can get that debit card gang affiliated. And yeah. So check us out. Patreon, YouTube, at W Wrestling Pod on Twitter. And yeah, we look forward to not having any problems. Isn't that right, KRS?
That's right. And I don't take any BS, Chikara or otherwise.
Yeah, do not get gang affiliated if you care about Chikara BS. We gotta watch who we say that stuff around, man.
Listen, no, you can be gang affiliated if you care. I'm just kidding. Please. Get that debit card.
Yeah, and have people coming after us on the indie scene. But yes, we got a lot to get to, so let's get right into it. Let's talk about this Forbidden Door show, which overall was, I thought, an amazing show. I think that a lot of the matches were very good, and I think that on the card that had Ospreay versus Omega 2, or Omega versus Ospreay 2, every other match is going to be in that match's shadow. So, obviously, Danielson versus Okada happened. It was a very good match. Danielson broke his arm during that match, which we'll get to. But, yeah, it was hard for any match to look good, on the same card as Omega and Ospreay 2. But yeah, so AEW Forbidden Door went down on Sunday night from the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. And what a show it was. Like I said, great show overall. Nearly all the matches were great. The main event was great, and the Omega Ospreay match, like I said, was otherworldly. It's actually kind of hard to fathom the amount of talent that was on this Forbidden Door card, because last year we had the first Forbidden Door, but we didn't have CM Punk, we didn't have Bryan Danielson. And this year, just the names on this show, it was a crazy stacked show. Even if you didn't agree with some of the matchups coming through the Forbidden Door or some of the build to some of the matchups, it was just an insanely stacked card. So let's start with the main event, the highly anticipated dream match, Danielson versus Okada. So first thing, Danielson comes out to the Final Countdown song, which was his old entrance theme from Ring of Honor before he was in WWE. Tony Khan mentioned afterwards that licensing that song cost as much as a wrestler's contract.
Man,
what do you think of that?
That's I believe it, because these songs, especially popular ones like that, who have lasted like years and years, like that song's been around and popular for a long time, they do cost money. But I think it's important sometimes to pay for songs like that, different songs, make something feel bigger. I appreciate that. Sometimes these, even though his other theme music is pretty good, but sometimes these generic wrestling themes, they don't make the moment feel as big as it could. So it was nice to see that.
Or when you watch the video back in the future and the Sandman's coming out to just and old
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, not to get too far off, but when I went to One Night Stand 2, the Sandman didn't have a match, but he did just kind of beat up Eugene. And in the arena, Enter Sandman played, and it was amazing. And I rewatch it on DVD, and it's the stupid generic one, and it's kind of terrible, actually. So there you go.
Yeah, so I didn't think we were going to have Eugene and the Sandman coming through the Forbidden Door in this segment, but
you never know. The door's open.
Yeah, you never know who's going to come through that Forbidden Door, as Tanahashi said. But yes, Tony Khan paying for the song in perpetuity. So what that means, I'm pretty sure, is that they're not going to have Danielson come out to the song again. But in the future, whenever this video plays, it's like legal, and they have the rights to keep that song, in the video. So if there's ever some future streaming service where you can watch this video on demand, they don't have to change that later on.
Oh yeah, that's probably why he paid such a hefty sum.
So yeah, so I think by the time this main event happened, Danielson and Okada, I think the crowd in the arena was definitely kind of tired out especially from that Omega and Ospreay match, which we'll get to. But yeah, there was a 6-man match in between the two main events basically, and it is hard to get the crowd going after they've just seen an all-time great match 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Do you think it would have been better to just have them back to back without any buffer?
Well, I think in hindsight, obviously Omega and Ospreay was the better match for a few reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe that should have gone on last, but who knows? With the potential for either match to be an all-time great match, somebody's gonna have to follow somebody. And then the thing about the 6-man didn't make sense, which we'll get to, is that you got to put something in between, I think, these matches. So I guess to answer your question, no, I wouldn't have put them back to back.
Yeah. Okay. I always wondered that kind of stuff.
So yeah, so the match itself, Danielson and Okada was a great match, I thought. Okada had some big moves on the outside. There was this one spot. So first Okada runs and hits Danielson with a big boot that knocks him right into the front row. So Danielson then lands a diving knee strike off the apron, and then bashes Okada into the corner, like collarbone first. Lots of stiff kicks from Danielson in this one. Shocker, I know. It was a pretty hard-hitting match. A lot of knife-edge chops and some European-style uppercuts in this one.
That's why I was looking forward to. I don't think I could handle an entire show of this kind of style, but when it's just one or two matches, I love it.
So Okada did his running leap, just clearing the barricade completely. And I swear he missed a small child by like 6 inches. There was this kid in the third row, and the kid didn't move out of the way. Like, it's just, for whatever reason, it is difficult in those moments. You think it's happening kind of off to the side, and then before you know it, there's people in your lap, right? So, but this kid was as small as my 4-year-old daughter, I swear, and they've got headphones on, and Okada just comes running, just running straight for the barricade, and he just leaps clean over it, and he goes 3 rows deep to Bryan, just this gigantic human being flying at you. And the kid, like, after Okada is like out of the way, the kid's like, whoa, like he almost got hit by a train or something coming by. Like, man, can you imagine Okada just planchas onto a little kid?
Add a star.
Add a star. Yeah, you thought MJF was a jerk to kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes water bottles and children look a little less mean.
I mean, go back and watch that clip of Okada doing that dive. The kid is so surprised when Okada goes flying by him. It's crazy.
Great moment though.
Yeah, it was. So Okada gets Danielson in the money clip. Danielson hit a missile drop kick. Okada hit a few drop kicks in this one. Lots of drop kicks from Okada, but he had a really nice shotgun drop kick, then a nice missile drop kick. Excalibur noting that Okada had a background in track and field and high jumping. So high jumping onto kids. So as I said already, Danielson fractured his arm in this match. He said in the post-show press conference that it was on an elbow drop from Okada. So unlike Kojima, who elbow dropped CM Punk's cock, Okada elbow dropped Danielson's arm and broke it.
Hey, we don't know. We haven't seen an X-ray of CM Punk, so who knows?
We have not seen an X-ray of Punk, so we don't know if there was a rupture involved. But yes, we did see the X-ray of Bryan's arm, and it was a clean break. That bone was fractured, completely compound fractured, broken.
Very bad. It looked horrible, yeah. And
I mean, it looked good, I thought, because sometimes when you get those breaks, the bone on the inside is either like there's like little chips of the bone, or there's like a jagged, super jagged part of the bone if it's depending on the angle.
Good point, yeah.
So it looks like something that could magically heal itself. No, it does look like something that is, healable. But yeah, so Danielson broke his arm in the match, and now after the show they were saying 6 to 8 weeks, which seems a little on the optimistic timetable. That timetable seems a little bit optimistic, especially having seen the X-rays, but that could possibly put Danielson out of the All In show and or the All Out show. That was a lot to get out, yo.
He did a good job, and I think you're right. I don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah, so, and of course he's going to miss the recently announced Blood and Guts as well, which I told Chris like a month ago at this point, what the plan was for Blood and Guts, and that's what I was saying on the show a few weeks ago when I said I made wrestling fan Chris mad about some upcoming plans, because the Blood and Guts episode of Dynamite is in Boston, driving distance for us. Spoiler, we're not going to be there. So the more we find out about how awesome it's going to be, the more upset we get. But
yes.
But now we know Danielson not going to be in the Blood and Guts match because obviously he broke his arm here. But yeah, it looked like just an elbow drop from Okada from the top rope that did it, because after that, Danielson was just nursing that arm for the rest of the match. It was about 10 minutes left of the match, I'd say.
A long time to wrestle with that kind of break.
Well, yeah, especially now having seen the X-ray, knowing what he was in there dealing with.
Yep.
just the fact that he did anything. That was actually the moment where, during the match, Danielson... well, actually, do I have notes on that part? Maybe I do. Maybe I'll get to that. So Danielson goes for a tope suicida. Okada catches him, goes for a Rainmaker on the outside. Danielson counters, hits a flying knee, and then a bunch of yes kicks on the outside, to which Okada responded with a tombstone pile driver onto the entrance ramp.
Hell yeah. That
was a great spot, I thought.
Yes.
Back in the ring, like I said, this is where the elbow drop from Okada broke Danielson's arm. This is, to me, it seemed like this was why they did the Danielson having a seizure spot, because that happened at Forbidden Door. Bryan Danielson just sold like he was convulsing there. The doctor comes in to check on the seizing Danielson. Okada comes over and just pulls Danielson back into the match, like tells the doctor, like, no, we're still going. I'm still beating him up.
Man. I mean, I'm a mark on this. I know I sound like a child, but I wonder if Okada just did not care that his arm was broken or didn't realize it. I don't know, man, because it came off like he really didn't give a shit.
Well, to me, it just looked like that was the moment where Danielson was, telling the referee and thus the doctor that he was injured. But the funny thing was, he's like telling them that he's injured, but I guess they did change the ending. That's what Danielson said at the press conference afterwards. So I don't know if he was kind of letting them know, like, hey, whatever we have planned ain't happening here. I'm not going to be able to pick Okada up on my one arm and bench him here. Sorry if that was the planned finish. No, but it seemed like that was him telling them, hey, I broke my arm. And then Okada brings him back in, and Danielson hits him with a Busaiko knee. That's right. Danielson was not having a seizure. He was faking the whole time.
What a jerk.
So, like I said, Danielson was nursing that right arm, I believe it was. Another Busaiko knee. Danielson goes for the label lock, gets countered. Danielson hits Okada with the Brie Bella kick straight to the face. Okada did remain conscious, though.
I love how that's what we call that now. In canon on the pod, we know what that means.
Yeah, the Brie Bella kick to the face. Rainmaker from Okada. He goes for the pin. Danielson kicks out of the Rainmaker. Okada clotheslines Danielson a few more times. Goes for another Rainmaker. Gets countered. Danielson gets Okada in the label lock. Again, modifies it by pulling Okada's arm back and kind of wrapping his shin around it. And Okada taps. Bryan Danielson submits Kazuchika Okada in the main event. Yeah, I really like this match. It makes a lot more sense knowing that it kind of went nowhere at the end. Like, it kind of seemed like they had a good beginning and middle of a match, and then, the ending, it was just, the label lock, a modified label lock. But it does make sense knowing that Bryan was severely injured, and just even thinking about how he was in there doing just that much with that broken arm is incredible.
It is a shame, though, because that was going to be even better. And I guess I was wrong because, if Okada knew to tap out at that time, then they must have been, in constant communication and figuring this out. So I wish it's a shame because I was looking forward to it a lot. And it was so good, but I know it could have been a couple notches higher if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, probably. And again, like I said in the beginning, I think every match we're looking at, it's just now you're comparing it to Omega and Ospreay, which we're going to get to. Don't worry. But yeah, I really like this match. The crowd was pretty quiet. There were a few chants. Bryan obviously invoked the yes chant there at one point, which was fun. Mm-hmm. But yeah, good match. The dream match happened. Again, this card was so stacked. Even before this match happened, before Bryan broke his arm, before anything, I remember thinking to myself, I don't even know how I can pay attention to this. For one, how can it top Omega and Ospreay? And even if it doesn't, I don't know how much energy I have left, I was I was in my living room, but I was ready to go out to the parking garage and get in my car. I had seen enough. I was I had been satiated already on this Forbidden Door card.
Yeah.
But again, that's just how good the card was. So, and then before we get into Omega and Ospreay, let's talk about this trios match. This one was sandwiched in between Omega and Ospreay and Danielson versus Okada. We had Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki versus Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito. What a lineup here.
Amazing. Yeah.
The match, though, was just a match. So, and I think that's okay. It was on a stacked card, and you sort of need a match to be kind of a recharge moment for the people where, you know, if they don't go crazy for the moves, it's okay. Especially when you have another main event coming up afterwards that you want people to have energy to enjoy and respond to.
Yeah.
So I felt like this one, their job wasn't exactly to have the match of the night, right? These 6 guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine because of the star power, like you said, the talent in the match. So I think that was actually a smart idea to put them there because it's still kind of cool. No matter how the match goes, it's still cool to see Naito and Jericho and Sting and Minoru Suzuki, you know, those are in the same ring. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was around 10 minutes. Nice, fast pace. Sammy Guevara hit a 450 on Sting through a table. I was wondering if Sting was meant to get out of the way for that one.
It looked like he was, or maybe our angle was bad, and maybe he just realized that Sammy was kind of short, so he tried to save him. That was my other thought.
Darby and Suzuki had a nice moment in this match. Sting and Suzuki facing off was really good. Mm-hmm. I really think they're still working toward a Sting versus Jericho match. Either that or just another tag match after the one they've already had. But Darby's face paint in this one was cool. It was like a bleeding black face paint. It was pretty cool. But yeah, there was one spot in this match where Sting was so tired that Sting was not in the corner. He was like getting back in. He was in the ring, and he was just walking back over to his corner while Naito was getting pinned. And it's like 1, 2, and Sting is like a foot away from the pin, and he's just walking to the corner trying to hold on to the ropes.
I mean,
sorry, buddy.
64, man.
But yeah, Sting got out there and wrestled. He also wrestled on Dynamite. Do you want to just talk about that one now for a minute?
Well, the first thing I thought of was the ECW 50 Moments DVD, and then I saw your tweet. So
yes, the evergreen tweet that will never fail me, which is that at W Wrestling Pod, folks. This is why you do not want to miss any of our social media posts. And you need to follow us on Twitter, even though I know Twitter is a cesspool and a hellscape, and we're kind of trying to move away from Twitter. It's just still that platform where we can just fire off these little one-off opinions and jokes and stuff. And until something comes along that replaces it, unfortunately, Elon Musk has us by the balls. At least some of us. But I digress. I had tweeted out a while ago, several times even, because I went back to search for this tweet. And I tweeted out that in 2022, so that Sting's bucket list is just the 50 craziest moments in ECW history DVD. So it's just the 50 craziest things that have happened in ECW. Just the balcony dives, the ladder dives, lighting things on fire, like just all of it. And it was great. That's what Sting apparently thinks he has left in the tank before he retires. So we've seen him do the dives, and now we're seeing him take crazy bumps, and then just to jump over to Wednesday's Dynamite for a second, they had a tornado tag match, Sting and Darby versus Sammy and Chris Jericho. And I don't know whose idea this one was, but really the only thing I want to mention is Sting does this dive off the ladder where he and Darby both climb up a ladder that's set up in the ring. And Sting's like, no, I want to do this one. So Darby's like, oh, you want to do it? Okay. So then Sting jumps off the ladder onto 2 tables. Well, there were 2 tables set up with Sammy, I believe it was, on the table. Now, I saw Sting up on that ladder, and granted, he wasn't on the tippy top of the ladder, which is probably a good thing. But he was up there, and I just remember thinking, these tables are too goddamn far away. What is he doing? He's up there, and I'm like, are we about to see, like, the show get stopped because of is he going to break both of his hips and back? Like, I literally thought the fun might be over here. Like, this might be the moment where the show literally stops because someone is just not moving, right? That's what I thought.
It was
like, you know, those moments where it's the same thing with Penta and Dante Martin at that Ring of Honor show when Penta does the goddamn, what did he do? A code red through like 4 tables or something crazy?
4 tables, yeah.
That's one of those moments where you're like, oh, this isn't just going to be one of those holy shit moments. This is going to be a show ender moment. So yeah, I thought that went through my mind. But so Sting jumps off, and now as he's in the air, I remember thinking, wow, that's a pretty far jump. You know, I thought Okada was the one with the long jump.
That's right.
The high jump back around here. No. But yeah, no, they show Sting in the air, and I'm like, oh, okay. He somehow found some leap here, and he's going to make it. And then no, he made it with basically his face only onto the table. I don't know if he broke the first one a little bit, but he face planted on the table and onto the outside. A 64-year-old man did this.
My favorite part about when he does that is his face. He never looks excited or like Sting making a woo. He just always looks so like he's like, oh, I gotta do this again. Just jumps off, no emotion, just sad.
It's like, where does Sting get the urge to do these things? I mean, these giant dives and these death-defying moves weren't really a big staple of his wrestling career. I don't know why you would move toward that in your 60s, but he did it. Sting did it again, as I tweeted at W Wrestling Pod. I believe that would have been the Vic Grimes diving, New Jack throwing him off the...
Oh, yeah, God.
The scaffolding. That was Sting trying to emulate that one. So that's off the list now. What else we got?
We'll see.
I think he's got to do like the RVD, dive off the top rope into the crowd. Like the springboard off the top rope, just straight into the crowd.
He'll really do that, too. Let's stop.
So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of go on a little side mission there to Dynamite to talk more about Sting and that insane move from Dynamite. But yeah, Sting was in this match on Forbidden Door, and Suzuki. No, I'm sorry. Sting, Darby, and Naito get the win because Naito was able to get a roll up on Suzuki in the match at Forbidden Door. All right, let's get to Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. This match was incredible. This was one of the very best wrestling matches I have ever seen. The entrances were great. The match had this big match feel just like if it was in the Tokyo Dome. Ospreay had some great heat with the Canadian crowd. Just so many awesome spots in this match. I can't go through all of them. This match went about 40 minutes. So let's see what I do have for some notes here. Some extemporaneous thoughts. So there were some flips, reversals. Omega hit the You Can't Escape. Don Callis got involved a few times. He had these military-grade security guys, which these goons that were like wearing commando gear and face masks. One of them just looked like Dana White. It's just like super jacked, bald guy with a face mask on. Well, I don't think Dana White would ever wear a face mask, but...
Touche, good point.
But yeah, so the military-grade security, that was the story going in, that Will Ospreay was insulting Canada. He was afraid, of Canada. And Don Callis provided some military-grade security for Will Ospreay when he went to Canada. And then Callis and his security got ejected, and then they came back out later.
Hell yeah.
So
Can't stop Don Callis.
So things, for me in this match, things started to pick up when Ospreay hit a shooting star press onto Omega's back as Omega was hung over the top rope. Then an Os cutter on Omega on the apron.
He's good. That's all I can say.
Omega, his head got bashed into the announce table, kind of a callback to Omega bashing Ospreay's head through a table at Wrestle Kingdom. Looked absolutely brutal the way these guys bash each other's heads in.
Yeah, a lot of stuff looked brutal.
Ospreay grabs a Canadian flag and wipes his tiz. He wiped his tiz with it. Yeah, I don't know if that's legal in Canada to do what that man did with the flag.
I don't think it is.
Putting it right in his tiz. So, the crowd went insane for that. I actually thought in that moment when he was doing that, I thought that somebody might, like, throw something at him and cause, like, everybody to throw stuff at him. Like, that was riotous. That's, like, how you start a riot.
I was surprised. The way, like you mentioned, the way he got that heat right away when he came out and the fans just hated him, I'm like, oh, man. We're going to have this is going to be another stoppage.
I think he was even considering it when he did it. Like, do I have to run out of here?
Yeah.
Like Colby Covington in Brazil, another UFC reference there. But yes, a V-trigger from Omega into the fans, right into the crowd. Lots of hard headshots in this match. Omega bounces Ospreay's head off the steps. Both men busted wide open. Jazzwares can go ahead and get a set ready with some bloody steel steps for their blood and guts toys, because there was one scene where they were near the steps and the blood was just running down the steps in real time, like a movie.
Couldn't have done a better setup if it was even more fake.
If it was even more fake. Then Omega sets the steel steps on their side and pulls Ospreay up and DDTs Ospreay on top of the side of the steps. This one made me cringe completely. Brutal. Crazy.
Yes.
Omega countered an Oz Cutter with a knee to the face. A Sky Twister press from the top to the floor by Will Ospreay. An Oz Cutter to Omega, who barely kicked out of that one. That was like that super, like, can barely move kick out. So great. Callus back out. Shields Ospreay from a V-trigger, but then just gets out of the way and lets Omega hit Ospreay with it. So Don Callis acted like he was going to protect Will Ospreay from the V-trigger of Kenny Omega. But then Callis did hand Will Ospreay a screwdriver. Ospreay stabs Omega with the screwdriver. He hits a hidden blade, then a Stormbreaker, goes for the pin, but at the last possible half second, Omega gets his foot on the rope, and this was one of the most amazing near falls I have ever seen. I thought this was the end of the match. I thought this was perfect. I was like, this is it. Fine, you want to have Kenny Omega lose. You're going to use the screwdriver. Ospreay was working the cheap seats with that thing, showing everybody's goddamn screwdriver here. He's like, hey, I got my screwdriver here in case you didn't see it. It's like it wasn't like he was holding a pair of tweezers. Like, pretty sure people saw it.
It was good. It really built to that, yeah. So that was a perfect crescendo to end, and then it didn't. So well done.
And then that kick, that foot on the rope was just amazing. Like I said, I could not believe this spot. So then Ospreay hits a V-trigger, and then a one-winged angel goes for the pin, and Kenny Omega kicks out at one of the one-winged angel. So in case you wanted to know who's going to kick out of the one-winged angel, spoiler, Kenny Omega.
You can't use his powers against him. It doesn't work that way.
At one. He kicked out at one. Not even one, like just barely one, Crazy. That was awesome too, because you just didn't see that coming at all.
Especially after the last one where he barely got his foot on the rope. Oh, yeah.
Ospreay hit the controversial Tiger Driver 91. Such sorcery involved here. What did you think of the Tiger Driver 91?
It was one of the worst things I've ever seen, honestly. I've seen Masawa do it to Kawada mostly, and they're terrible too. But this one was even worse. Like it looked so bad. Omega's whole body weight was going forward. It feels like his neck took the whole hit. Man, I was like, I'm happy he got up, honestly.
It looked brutal. It looked bad. I don't think that they should do stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, especially against Omega, who had to spend almost a year away because of all the injuries he had. I know there were just a lot of nagging injuries, but I mean, God, we don't want him out any longer. He's put his body through enough. Head
and neck stuff to me is just not necessary. It doesn't really add anything, and I don't think they should do it. I mean, Masawa died in the ring from an internal decapitation. Like it's not. It's one thing to say I'm willing to risk my paralysis or whatever, but I don't think any AEW fan wants to go to a show and and have the worst happen to their favorite wrestler. Yep. I mean, you have Misawa, who, like I said, died in the ring, and then you have Shibata, who had to have his brain like removed from his skull during his injury, from his brain like swelling. So I just don't think head and neck stuff. I mean, it's one thing if you want to lay in a shot that's like stiff, okay, fine. People even get knocked out, like we were just making fun of like the Brie Bella kick, but yeah, I don't think that stuff should be there, and I think that it's just I just don't think I'm not going to be the guy to cheer for it. That's all. I'm not going to kind of take any stars away from the match or take anything away from the match or anything, but you are just not going to catch me in any way endorsing that.
Especially if that was not in this match, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't do anything to them. Like, it doesn't take away one iota of greatness from this match. So that's even worse.
And it's the same thing with people who still want to do chair shots to the head. It's like, you don't need to do it. The only thing any logical person is thinking about is the literal damage you're doing. So you're not taking things to a fun new level, in my opinion, with certain things. So yeah, so I just wanted to get that in there.
Sure.
Get my shit in.
Brother.
So Hidden Blade, Stormbreaker, 1, 2, 3, Will Ospreay, pins Omega, hashtag and new IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion. Overall, Chris, what were your thoughts on the match?
I came out. I always knew Will Ospreay was very good, but I came out thinking he's one of the all-time, maybe not all-time best, but right now he's definitely one of the greatest. Like, I could watch any match of his. I watched that match that you mentioned with the Amazing Red and him, and that was great. Like,
you did watch that one? Yeah,
he's just a top-tier wrestler. And I don't know why I always had this like bad taste in my mouth about him. Maybe I'm just listening to Vader too much. But no, he's great. I can watch any Ospreay match. I'm looking forward to the third match in their series, wherever that will be.
You already know I give wrestling fan Chris the homework to go and watch some Amazing Red matches on YouTube.
Correct.
Yes, that's what we do around here. But yes, no, that was a great match. And like I was telling you in that Amazing Red match, like they made it seem like Red was going to beat Will Ospreay when he was IWGP World Champion in that match. It was so good.
Yeah, Ospreay does a great job of doing like those the quote unquote new like indie stuff, like the big fancy moves and all these impressive things, but also he does a great job of selling and acting like he might lose and being in a pitfall. So that's why he's great.
And I do appreciate how in the Omega and Ospreay matches, you kind of had in the first match Kenny Omega dominating things, and in the second match Will Ospreay dominating the match.
That's why I think there's going to inevitably be a third one, because they have set that up very well.
Like, they didn't need to do some spot where the momentum shifts away from Kenny.
Yep.
Like, I mean, obviously there was the screwdriver, which I guess you could say, but it was just these guys are beating the hell out of each other, and this time Ospreay is just beating the hell out of Kenny Omega more. We don't need to have this, how could he be beaten? Oh no.
Yeah.
Like, take away his magical superpowers, take away his shoulder, whatever. It was just, no, I'm just kicking the shit out of you for the 40 minutes here, basically.
Yep.
But yeah, so I thought in this one there was a lot more offense from Ospreay. And yes, you're right. Will Ospreay is one of the absolute best wrestlers in the world right now, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just throwing it out there. When we have Ospreay, Omega, Danielson, and Okada, I mean, and plus, think about it like this. On this same card, Tanahashi wrestled. Sonata wrestled.
Yep.
I mean, you had Hiromu Takahashi on the pre-show. So you're talking about who are the best wrestlers, even just in New Japan. It's got to be Okada and Ospreay, in my opinion. And
definitely.
As far as AEW goes, again, Punk was on this card. The Bucks were on this card. Moxley was on this card. Hangman was on this card. The best wrestlers in AEW are Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. So you have to say that really these four guys probably the best 4 wrestlers in the world right now. Just take your pick on any given day. Omega, Okada, Bryan, Ospreay, right?
Definitely. I agree.
It's tough. I mean, Seth Rollins is up there. You know.
Yeah, but he's probably 5.
Yeah, just even if sometimes if you're talking about who is the best, when you get up into that upper echelon, sometimes it's just a matter of not who's actually better, but just who had the opportunities to do. Like Seth Rollins is not going to have a Forbidden Door dream match scenario come up anytime soon. Obviously, this match with Finn Balor at Money in the Bank, it's probably going to be pretty damn good. It's probably going to be great. But, you know, until we see basically Seth Rollins versus Roman in some big super fight, or just an amazing 40-minute match from Seth Rollins, which there have been, I just think he's in the conversation, but these 4 guys are the best in the world right now, in my opinion.
It's absolutely.
So, yeah, that was my thoughts on Ospreay, Omega. Better than their first match at Wrestle Kingdom? Tough to say, just because I just thought that was a uniquely good match at Wrestle Kingdom. There was more. It was definitely a logical sequel. You know, keep the story going. They didn't repeat everything that they did. I mean, they did every single move, basically, but they didn't kind of tell you the same story. But sometimes the original is just better, but I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I only remember how it made me feel, because I'm a wrestling fan. I only care about how things make me feel. I don't care about the facts.
Exactly.
All right, so let's go through the rest of the Forbidden Door card here. Toni Storm retained the AEW Women's Championship against Willow Nightingale. Had a nice spine buster from Willow in this match. Yeah, we also had the 10-person tag match. The Elite, Eddie Kingston, and Tomohiro Ishii versus Moxley, Claudio, Yuta, Takeshita, and Shota Umino, who did not get the memo that we were all wearing black in this match.
Somebody, come on, man. I know.
Konosuke Takeshita is so cool. He is one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW right now. Like they signed Takeshita, and I think he's got a bright future. And I think
absolutely, oh yeah,
he looked really cool and really badass in there with the BCC. So this was
fits in really well with them. Yeah, absolutely. I like that grouping.
Yeah, their entrance was so cool. The BCC coming in through the crowd.
Oh.
Just to think way back, to think all the way back to Wrestle Kingdom when Chris Jericho put Shota Umino in the walls of Jericho.
Seems like so long ago.
So this one was a very fast-paced match, very hard-hitting. At one point, Takeshita knocked Ishii unconscious, which I thought was hilarious and awesome at the same time, because they're going back and forth, and then Takeshita just knocks him out. Ishii, like the toughest guy in the world, just drops. So there was a chop fest between Moxley and Kingston in this one. So these guys finally went at it a little bit in this match. They went back and forth with around 45 chops.
Unbelievable.
Because I did count. All the while, a brawl has broken out around them. And, I mean, you've got the Young Bucks just soaring over the top rope. Hangman hitting a Orihara moonsault onto the group. Moxley and Kingston just slapping each other in the ring while all this is going on. Everybody's fighting. These guys are just slapping and slapping and slapping. Like I said, there was about 45 chops here. I also wrote here, Hangman Page is awesome. He had some really good moves in this match. And the finish in this 10-man match, which on most nights would be the match of the night, this 10-man was, it was just so much, it was a frenetic pace in this one. Tomohiro Ishii pins Wheeler Yuta. That's right, Wheeler. Think you're cool just because you're, getting the pinfall on Kenny Omega? Well, guess what? Time to look up at the lights, son.
That's right. You gotta get it back.
So also at Forbidden Door, we had the IWGP World Championship get defended when Sonata took on Jungle Boy Jack Perry. This was not a bad match. I thought it was kind of an odd choice for Jungle Boy to be the one to answer the open challenge for the IWGP World title, but this wasn't bad. Sonata retained the title. He ultimately won with a moonsault off the top rope. But then, after the match, Jungle Boy is being helped up the ramp by his best friend Hook. Hook goes to raise Perry's hand up to the crowd, and Jungle Boy drops Hook with a big clothesline on the ramp, and the crowd erupted with a chorus of boos. It was almost like this crowd was like waiting for this to happen.
Yeah, and you know what? They did it at the right time. You know how we always talk about stuff gets dragged out too long and then no one cares? This was a great moment, like a precise time to do it.
Yeah, Jungle Boy, he just lost. It's not really about him, right? Sonata beat him. You're just walking up the ramp, Best case scenario for you is the crowd gives you like a pity round of applause. And then Hook tried to get that pop for the unsuccessful Boy of the Jungle. And then Jungle Boy turns heel, attacks Hook. This was good. Jungle Boy just became a bigger heel than half of the heels in AEW, I feel like.
Yes. And another little side track to Dynamite. He's pretty good at cutting heel promos.
I mean, he needs some work. I think it was almost better when he didn't talk as a heel. I think he does more without speaking than once he gets talking.
He'll get there though. But he at least he can talk shit. At least maybe it wasn't like a very like beautifully eloquent promo, but he's in the right direction.
Yeah, I think he's the AEW version of like Dominic Mysterio. He's just saying things people don't like, and that's how the booing starts. And then I think people are just going to get like addicted to booing him.
Hey, if it works, right?
Or they're going to boo him like screw this. He might get those kind of boos. Like, screw this. We don't care, Jungle Boy. We don't care who your girlfriend is. Yeah,
I know. I mean, that's how. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, but yes, on this night, the crowd was into it. They were booing the shit out of Jack Perry. The heel turn of Jungle Boy. He grabs the FTW title, throws it down, and Taz, folks. Taz on commentary was barely able to keep his composure here. I wrote down, I'm doing everything in my power to be a professional. Was that good?
That's not bad.
Not
for nothing. That's not bad.
Not for nothing. I'm doing everything in my power to be a professional. Jungle Boy Jones over here. Yam bag. Hit him right in the yam bag Jones. Doing everything in my power to be a professional. Yes, Taz took his glasses off. He was like hyperventilating. His poor son got attacked. And then even worse than his son getting attacked, the FTW title got disrespected. Taz was great here. Better than when he was in Aces and Eights, for sure.
Definitely. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. No question.
So we also had a four-way for the AEW International Championship at Forbidden Door. Orange Cassidy retained the title in a very fun match against Katsuyori Shibata, Zack Sabre Jr., and Daniel Garcia. Orange got the pin over Garcia, who is probably why he was in this match.
Yeah.
Daniel Garcia, the man who beat Bryan Danielson on Dynamite, relegated to taking the pin in a four-way match. But there were a lot of fun spots in this one. Zack Sabre Jr. was great in this match, as was Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy and Shibata had multiple face-offs and exchanges, and they kind of faced off at the end. They shook hands and showed respect, but this one, they kind of foretold that there's still more to come between Shibata and Orange Cassidy.
Which is going to be nice. That's going to be good. Well done.
So there was a spot where they were both sitting they were both sitting cross-legged on the mat, and Orange and Shibata just punching each other, sitting down in the ring. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
We also had CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima in a first-round matchup in this year's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Punk came out to a mixed reaction from the Toronto crowd. Loud boos from the crowd, which we also got the night before on Collision, which was also in Toronto. First of all, what did you think of this crowd reaction to the patron saint of not drinking alcohol, CM Punk?
I think that we kind of knew, didn't we? We've spoken about it before, or at least we were wondering how it would be outside of Chicago. And I know that Toronto, I know Canada sometimes is different-ish, the crowds, maybe. But the last time I checked, Kojima is not from Canada, so I think it's just Punk stuff. So he might, but Punk, though, to his credit, is he doesn't whine about it. He just goes in there, takes it, and acts like a shithead, and it works when he gets booed.
I think he responded to it in a positive way, obviously, because he is a pro.
Sorry, I didn't mean like a whiny way. Yeah, he's just very good. He's a pro, and he knows how to do it. Yeah, he handled it well.
He's able to adapt to whatever the crowd. He'll play into it a little bit, but he's not going to stray from his role, which is still, to be a babyface, right?
Yeah, as much as I talk a lot of junk about Punk, he is a professional. He does know how to handle things, so I do appreciate that about him.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the best ever at kind of maybe not controlling the crowd, but dealing with the crowd.
Yes, agreed. Absolutely.
So, yes, I think one guy really summed it up for me because there was just this guy on the hard camera side wearing an Elite Canada, like the Elite with the Canada flag shirt, booing the shit out of Punk. And it kind of told me like, oh, that's who's booing him, right? Think about it. These are AEW fans in Toronto, Canada, meaning they're wrestling fans, right? Because Toronto's a big wrestling city. Punk did the Hogan spot, brother. Punk did the old Terry Bollea leg drop, dude, in this one.
Which he keeps doing, and I love it.
I think he was just doing it because, I don't know, Hogan's just association with Canada. I guess from WrestleMania 18, I don't know. But, yeah, Punk did that, got the crowd going a little bit because it's not like Hogan's from Toronto.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
But they definitely didn't appreciate Punk doing Hogan moves.
I think someone, I don't have, never mind. I don't have the source, so I'm not going to say someone about why he's doing the Hogan stuff. I'll figure it out. We'll talk about it another time.
Table that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but Punk responded, like he kind of absorbed those boos, like, okay, I see how it is, like they weren't ready to scrap the plans, as far as I could tell, but he was able to kind of adapt to the boos, and it was interesting hearing, Punk is, like you said, outside of Chicago now, and it is interesting to see what level of disdain does the average AEW fan have for CM Punk, because of the all-out backstage brawl, because we never got, for one, there's never going to be an on-screen story. It's not like Tony Khan came out afterward and said, hey, did Punk screw Punk? Who screwed Punk?
Yeah, right.
So there's no story component. Then all you have is the rumor mill, which we kind of know relative facts about what happened. Although I do have a conspiracy theory,
Oh, I love it.
We saw Kenny Omega's arm afterwards in a game show in Japan. He had a bite mark on his arm, okay? If you remember, who's the only entity involved in here who needed, allegedly, to have their teeth removed? Larry.
Ooh.
Who started this? Who started this drama, really? Larry. Okay? Think about it.
Don't talk like that. Don't talk like that.
Think about it. Who's working everybody behind the scenes, really stirring the pot? Larry. Okay? Where was Larry during all this? Did he sign a non-disclosure agreement?
Probably. They all did.
Everybody involved had to?
That's right.
I don't know. I think people are looking in the wrong direction here. Is Larry allowed on site at AEW shows?
We haven't seen Larry. Right?
No mention of Larry on television.
That's right.
Just saying, put the pieces together. No, just kidding. But yeah, with Punk, we don't know how the average AEW fan is going to interpret all that drama, because you and I and everybody else we follow are so plugged into this stuff. Like, you hear people saying things like, yeah, the week after All Out at Dynamite, people were in the arena and having to explain to their friend next to them what happened, after All Out, because not everybody is, on the internet at midnight after All Out, refreshing their Twitter, like, what? There was a fight? What? Who fought? Not everybody is plugged in like that. Just like in the 90s, when you'd go to wrestling and not everybody read the dirt sheets and read the magazines and knew about the drama with this guy and that guy. Some people just go to the goddamn shows, So it'll be interesting to see how much of the fan base is smartened up and, doesn't take Punk's side, or if there's maybe any other cities around, maybe more in the U.S. that where Punk is still a babyface, I guess.
That's another fun thing to look forward to, though, I think.
So yeah, we already talked about Kojima elbow drop right on the cock of CM Punk. He was also he was popping his pecs for like a minute straight in this one, Kojima. So it was difficult to say that one, tongue twister. Yeah, we got a leg drop from Punk onto Kojima, and Punk won with a GTS on Kojima, advancing in the Owen Hart tournament to the next round. He will face the winner of Roderick Strong versus Samoa Joe. So either one of those matchups is fine by me. I feel like Collision, that is the perfect show to give a guy like Roderick Strong just like a 20-minute match every week.
I'd be so happy about that.
Like, just, this is the Roderick Strong 20-minute segment every week. Thank you. But we'll see. But yes, like I said, Punk beat Kojima. And we had in the opener, MJF retained the AEW World title against Tanahashi. He used the Dynamite Diamond Ring to assist with the victory. MJF tweeted during the match, that he had scheduled a tweet because he would have already beaten Tanahashi. I think it kind of defeated the purpose of scheduling the tweet to say in the scheduled tweet that you scheduled the tweet. Just because you could have just tweeted like, I can't believe I beat Tanahashi so quickly, and then he's like still in the ring.
Yeah.
That would have been fun. But yeah, he also tweeted later on after the show a video of himself, presumably in an airport, like 20 minutes later. So
I love it. What an asshole.
The show was supposed to feature a match between Adam Cole and Filthy Tom Lawler, which would have been awesome. Adam Cole was not cleared for the show due to an illness, so that one was scratched.
Man, disappointing, but understandable.
So overall thoughts on Forbidden Door. I thought this was a great show. One of the most talent-rich wrestling shows I've ever seen. I think it's going to be remembered that way. It was almost like this was two shows, right? There was like that first part of the show where it's like MJF and CM Punk and, the Young Bucks. And then there was just those last two matches were like their own show almost, But just think about these. This is who was on this wrestling show this past Sunday night. Danielson, Okada, Omega, Ospreay, Punk, MJF, Tanahashi, Sting, Jericho, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, Moxley, Claudio, Shibata, Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., Naito, Takahashi, and Shingo were on the pre-show. It was just a really stacked show.
And I think whatever the build is, when you think of Forbidden Door and when the first one was thought of and done and all this is the kind of stuff we want. We just want this much talent in one arena for one show wrestling each other. So it's great.
Yeah. I mean, and could it have been slightly better? Yeah, it could have been. But it's just in general, we don't get things this good. So for us to be like, oh man, I would have loved Kenta versus Punk. Oh man, I would have loved just Sonata versus MJF. Or like you could have trimmed the fat somewhere here, made a little better combinations. Like, oh man, I would have loved Darby Allin versus Hiromu Takahashi. Look, first of all, you can write that one down for next year, Tony. But
oh yeah,
just anything, Hangman Page against Naito. Like, oh, you could write that one down too. Actually, I'm on a roll here. But yes, could you have nitpicked? Yes. Do you need to? Not at all. Because this show was like, It's hard enough to get all these guys on one show, So, yeah, I thought it was a great show overall. That next spot with Omega, the Tiger Driver 91, is just not for me. Also, we got Danielson. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, if he comes back, it'll be cutting it pretty close, which guys tend to do that these days, is come back pretty quick from injuries, maybe sooner than they should. But Jericho and Sting, probably not done unless Sting is done. But
yeah,
Omega and Ospreay, incredible, all-time classic. And yeah, overall, I thought it was just a great show. All right, so let's move on here. So, Chris, did you see this? Just before we started recording today, the trailer dropped for Season 2 of Heels.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to it so much. I've been waiting and waiting. I feel like we've been waiting forever. I think it's been like a year and a half, right?
I'm watching the trailer right now. So much in this trailer. You've got Jack Spade. He's looking like he's still a heel. He's struggling with some personal stuff. His family left him. Spoiler, in last season. His brother, nowhere to be found. The DWL arena, empty. Dramatic scenes.
Yep.
Jack and Stacy. Her name's Stacy, right?
Yes.
People showing up to the Duffy Dome. Where is Ace? We got a sign that says, "Where is Ace?" Where is Ace? He's having nightmares, maybe.
Yeah. Looks like he's working on the dock, or he got a union card or something.
We got, what's this dude's name? Some DWL flags. Some new people, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, look, if we're going to talk
Crystal
about
training with April Punk showing up in the trailer.
April Punk. Good addition, though. That's very exciting for me.
For sure. CM Punk, Ricky Rabies is going to be back on the show. Obviously, Crystal is the top, the draw of the DWL. Mike O'Malley. Oh, I spoke to you soon. Mike O'Malley showing up in the trailer.
Punches Jack Spade across the face.
Suitcase full of money from Mike O'Malley. Even on heels, like why does Mike O'Malley do his business in the ring? Like, he does everything in the ring.
I don't know, but I think we talked about it for the first season. It's just so funny, like the seriousness we have to take a different wrestling promotion trying to basically just kill another one so seriously, and Michael Malice would be all bad.
Just rolling into your bowling alley converted into a wrestling promotion to try to sabotage the show. Like, come on, we got some actual footage, it looks like, of the King, Tom Spade. So it looks like we're going to be getting some flashbacks.
Wild Bill kissing someone. I don't know.
Jack emulating King Tom on the top rope. Yeah, Wild Bill. Oh, yeah, Michael O'Malley. What's he doing? Oh, is the whole back in the ring here? We got the whole group. CM Punk, Ricky Rabies doing some commentary, I guess.
Best on the microphone, best on commentary.
What is this, Cage Fury? Even on commentary, no one can touch Ricky Rabies.
That's right. It's very exciting. I'm so glad that it's coming out. Still a month away, which makes me sad, but...
Somebody zip lines into the ring. I hope it wasn't Logan Paul.
That'll be on Saturday.
Dumpster match. We got, what's this dude's name? Don't tell me his name. Bobby Pinn. Bobby Pinn. Bobby Pinn. I don't know if he's in Gorilla or what, but Bobby Pinn's doing something. They're at a big party at the Florida Wrestling Dystopia. But yeah, some new people on the scene. Promos. Oh, are they going to be going to promo school? It looks like it. Rooster, of course. Hopefully Rooster gets the belt this season. Maybe Jack Young's son wants to become a wrestler. We'll see.
Oh, man.
And there's a mystery character, folks, at the end of the trailer. Who could it be? Who do you think it is? they say, who is this mystery person? And there's like a hooded figure standing in the ring. Oh my God, I cannot wait.
I literally have zero idea who that's going to be or what the story is going to be, but I'm very excited.
Just a new character has hitchhiked into the Duffy Dome here. Who is it? No, I don't know if it's...
That's probably Ace coming back, you know? If it was really like wrestling, he finally makes his return. He's like in a big old hoodie or like jacket. We don't know who it is. Then it's him.
Yeah, you know, thinking about it, it probably would be just Ace, right? It wouldn't be like Cody or somebody. It would
maybe. Oh, Cody, maybe.
Who is this mystery man? And it's Ace.
It's got to be.
It was me, Jack.
I am looking forward to some Tom Spade wrestling footage, and it looks like they're gonna draw some more parallels from about Jack's life and how he's kind of turning and going down that road of Tom. So
looking forward to getting some more footage of the King in action, Tom Spade, so we can finally figure out what was the King's legacy in the DWL. We know that he had that ladder match at Halloween Hurtin' like 85, but we just don't, you know, we know of a few past DWL champions, right? We know Jack Spade is a champion.
Yep.
Apocalypse is a former champion. Oh, I didn't see Apocalypse in the trailer though.
I didn't either. That's
not good. You get the belt back on Pac. Rooster was in the trailer. Like I said, hopefully Rooster gets the belt this season. I mean, maybe Crystal. Isn't Crystal the champion at this point?
Yeah, she is a champion. I believe in the trailer you see her wearing the belt.
Yeah. And
then at the end, it looks like a packed crowd at the dome, at the Duffy Dome, and there are two women saying, "I love her. She's so badass." I'm assuming that's Crystal, but that could be El Dorado or someone else. A lot of questions.
Yeah. I cannot wait. July 28th. Heels is coming back. I am not currently a subscriber of Stars. I will have to figure that out. But we will, of course, we will talk about the season premiere. I don't know if we want to talk about every single weekly episode because I really enjoyed the 2-part Heels review that we did, folks. The audio podcast that we did reviewing Heels Season 1. Go back and check it out in the podcast archives, okay, pal? You are not going to find a review of a show like the review we did of Heels. A deep dive into the lore and legacy of the Duffy Wrestling League, folks. We tried our best to find every character in this wrestling promotion, every championship, every match, every premium live event title, every ladder, every billboard, every poster. We combed over Season 1 of Heels to bring you a review of the Duffy Wrestling League. And yeah, we are looking forward to going back to Duffy with Heels Season 2. Yeah, that was good. Thank you for not talking. I probably that was definitely a good way to end the Heels segment.
Gotcha, yeah.
All right. So, what else do we got to talk about here? Let's talk about this Money in the Bank card. Money in the Bank is going down this Saturday, 3 p.m. here, stateside, Eastern time. Money in the Bank going down, so it's going to be an early one. I
like it. I won't be home until like 5:30, but I like it. I could be done by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, plus it's on the Peacock, so you spend your $3 on Peacock. That's what I have to do anyway because I don't know. Comcast told me that my Peacock subscription wasn't part of my Comcast anymore. I don't know. I have to pay for it.
Yeah, me too. Pretty ridiculous, but whatever.
So let's go through these matches here for Money in the Bank. First, any match in particular more than others that you're looking forward to going into Money in the Bank?
Oh, Seth, well, besides the Money in the Bank matches themselves, man, it's like you got Seth Rollins and Finn Balor because that's probably going to be a good work. That's going to be a good match. They're great. They're putting up on a great show. And then the Bloodline, the War, who knows what's going to happen in that match? That's interesting. Is Dominic going to beat Cody? Who knows?
Yes.
I think so too. And then, oh man, they got Gunther and Matt Riddle too. That should be great. It's a good card.
Yeah.
It came out to be pretty good.
Yeah, WWE has been doing a better job with these, non-Big Four, and I guess you could say Money in the Bank would be the big fifth event now. They want it to be anyway. But especially with this whole Triple H and Nick Khan in charge, they've been doing more of just giving you a lot more substance in these cards. And now that they've got this new world title, they can have just even more, title matches on the card. More opportunities for big matches there. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the Bloodline Civil War match as well as the Seth Rollins Finn Balor match. That match has been the build to that match has been pretty good because we are going back to the original Universal Championship match, Rollins and Balor, but I think Finn Balor has proven to be a worthy contender for Seth Rollins' new championship. I mean, he's out here kicking his ass every week. So
I'm going to tell you right now, I think Finn Balor he's not gonna, but I think Finn Balor should win the title, and I think Damian Priest should win the Money in the Bank, and let's have that story. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wish.
It's possible. They've definitely built this one up to make you think that Finn Balor could possibly win against Seth Rollins, right? Like he's beating up Rollins enough where he seems, formidable enough to where this is a real threat for Rollins, right?
Yeah, he could lose too. That's true. That's it'll be nice.
I don't think Rollins is going to lose, though, because this is his first real match as champion. Obviously, he defended it like the first night against Damian Priest and then didn't defend it against Tommaso Ciampa. But, yeah, I think that they're probably going to tear it down. I mean, especially with these two guys. These guys are definitely, aware of the competition. Not that anybody else isn't. But, when a match like Omega and Ospreay happens, Rollins and Balor are the kind of guys that want to say, okay, now it's our turn.
Yes.
Or you would think they want to do that, They're two of the guys most capable, I would say, of having a match like that in WWE.
Yeah, Balor could definitely step it up and bring a little bit of that Prince Devitt, like, hard, strong style. We'll see, though.
Yeah, and I think he has been lately.
Yeah.
So, we got the world title match. That one should be good. You mentioned Cody and Dominic. Yeah, we don't have to talk that much about this one. I do think Dominic's going to win, though.
Me too. It makes sense.
You're not getting me again, WWE. You're not getting me again thinking Cody's going to win. You know who's going to finish the story? Dom.
Oh, God.
Dom's going to finish the story.
No,
I do think it is the exact thing WWE would do because the same reason why they're elevating Dominic Mysterio at all is because of the, organic heat he's getting with the crowd.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's getting that geothermal heat, brother. And it's just, they want to push him because of that. It's like you get a reaction, we're going to push you. Just like James Ellsworth.
Oh, God, yeah.
Dom is obviously a much better wrestler, but it's just that same mentality of like, oh, we didn't have to jam you down their throats. Oh, well now we're going to. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So not that Dominic is bad or anything, but it's just, you don't think Dom would beat a guy like Cody. Cody was kind of like a championship contender, the top babyface in the company. But I do think that it is just the move that a certain somebody would make.
Yes. Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pick Dominic Mysterio over Cody.
I can't wait till after that to see what happens.
This is interesting. The new Unified Tag Team Champions, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Man, you know who's really great? Shayna Baszler. She has this old school heel mentality that she just never breaks. On social media, when she's just walking around the ringside area, anything she's doing, she is that same heel all the time. This like old school wrestling heel.
Yeah, she is great. I'm glad that she's a champ now, and hopefully they have a long run and they just beat the crap out of people. That's what I want.
Liv Morgan is back. We'll be back. Her and Raquel getting that rematch for the titles they never lost. And like I said, who's just so great is Shayna Baszler. I don't know who's going to win that match. I don't really have a pick. But we also got, this one was kind of added in a rush, the Intercontinental Champion Gunther versus Matt Riddle.
At the very least, we get that intro, hopefully. Hopefully she's doing it.
Yeah. Samantha Irvin.
Yes.
Is it Irvin or Irwin?
Oh, Irvin.
Samantha Irvin. I don't
Yeah.
want to say people's names wrong. Yes, the Intercontinental Champion Gunta.
Which, yeah, you're right. It got put together hastily, but these are two good. This is going to be good.
Hopefully he will be accompanied by Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci.
You're getting it. You're getting it down.
So yeah, obviously Gunther is going to win that one.
Yes.
No question about it. For the IC Championship. Then, what else we got before the... let's do the Bloodline match last. So let's talk about the Women's Money in the Bank match. Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus. This is one of the better Money in the Bank lineups I've seen.
I agree. I love it because, like we were talking about weeks ago, I don't know. There's not really a standout, like, this person's definitely going to win. So it could go anywhere. And the best part about Money in the Bank matches is when you don't actually know who's going to win. So you can actually care about people like fake climbing the ladder, you know?
Yeah, and I think that the two fields here for each of these Money in the Bank matches are interesting because to me it's such a newer mentality of putting it, or maybe like the original purpose of the Money in the Bank, when you actually put people in the match
Yes.
who are like upper mid-card talent, who really any one of them could be a veritable, contender for the championship, whether or not they would win. And then there's also the component of the Money in the Bank briefcase that's supposed to really elevate the winner, like it did Edge, right? Edge, the original winner, from that mid-card sort of intercontinental championship spot in the middle of the pack to now all of a sudden Edge is the world champion, right?
Yep.
So
Dolph Ziggler too, when he cashed in on Del Rio.
for a little while, but I just mean it brought Edge to that next level permanently,
Oh, true. Good point. Yeah.
And it hasn't done that in a while. Obviously, like you're saying, Dolph Ziggler and fucking Otis and shit. But with these fields, there's no obvious like loser in these matches. You could, and obviously certain people you don't think they're going to win, but at the same time, anybody could win. And it would be logical for that performer, right? So like Zelina Vega, obviously she's really hot right now. She had those great moments in Puerto Rico, really getting the spotlight that she deserves. Becky Lynch, I don't think people think she's going to win, but I don't think she's ever won a Money in the Bank match.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
So she could win. Zoe Stark, she's like the new kid on the block. They're pushing her, putting her with Trish. Trish is also in the match. I could see Zoe Stark winning, to really put the rocket on her. That would really let us know what WWE thinks of her, which they've already kind of been showing us, right, with all of the backstage segments. And really all of these people came out from NXT in the draft, and the only one we're talking about is Zoe Stark, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you got Bayley in the match, who I actually could see Bayley winning this match, to be honest.
Me too.
I don't think she will, but I could see that match ending with just the crowd being like, "Huh, Bayley?" Like she's not the person you don't think deserves to win. You just don't really think that right now she's the one who is going to win. And that to me kind of makes me think like, well, then she's kind of the perfect person to win the match, right?
Yeah.
But then you have, like I said, Trish is also in the match. I said last week on the show, Trish is obviously going to win. I don't think she's actually going to win. I think she's here to just be like a heater for somebody or screw somebody over, something. Maybe help Zoe Stark win more than anything. But the person who I obviously think is going to win the Women's Money in the Bank match is Io Sky for sure.
Oh man, I hope it happens.
That's the move. That's the choice. Book it.
Please get that pen out because I want it to happen. That's who I want to win.
Can't find my pen. No pen clicking today. I don't have my pen. But
All
yes, Io Sky, Hunter, book it. Have your meeting. Decide on Io Sky.
Please.
And then the men's Money in the Bank match. Like I said, both of these fields, there's no Kane in the match. There's no Baron Corbin. There's no obvious loser. There's no big guy in here that you don't think would ever win. These are all contenders, right? Potential winners. And that's what I like about the way they set up these matches. Because you don't need... It's like a multiple choice question. There's always that one answer that's obviously wrong. But you don't need to do that. If it's just like it's like in the Royal Rumble, right? If like Mean Gene Okerlund comes out in the Royal Rumble, you're like, okay, well, he's not going to win, or Bobby Heenan comes out, or the Gobbledygooker comes out.
Michael Cole.
I thought you were going to say Michael Hayes.
Hey.
Yeah, Michael Cole. These people are not going to win, but it makes the match more intriguing, especially when there's only 6 people. Obviously, in a Royal Rumble, there's 30. So,
yeah.
But in these 6-man matches, let's say, when anybody, they're all in that same, like they're all in the same spot or similar spots, right? So you've got Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul. So I think obviously Ricochet is the one person who I don't think, no one thinks Ricochet is going to win this match, but it's awesome that he's in the match. He's definitely one of the best wrestlers in the match. He's one of the most capable high flyers in the world. And I think that, especially with guys like Santos Escobar, Pete Dunne, Logan Paul in the match, there's a lot of potential for Ricochet to, do crazy moonsaults and 450s and shooting star presses.
Yeah, I mean, back in the heyday of NXT, he was in a few ladder matches and he did some crazy stuff. So
you got Shinsuke Nakamura, who apparently is now being recognized for the star that he is in the world of wrestling. After all these years of being toiling away in WWE, people not knowing what to do with him. Like I told you, I think that really after he went to Noah for that Keiji Muto, I believe it was Keiji Muto retirement show in the beginning of the year, Nakamura's entrance, and he's like a WWE signed talent, and his entrance just was like back in the day at Wrestle Kingdom. He looked like such a star coming out in Noah, and I actually would think that his bosses, probably watched that and thought something similar, which is like, holy crap, this guy's a star. What are we doing here? Yep. And ever since then, if you notice, all of a sudden, we've been seeing Nakamura higher and higher up. And we got Santos Escobar, just a dark horse to win the match. I mean, maybe he's the one guy that we think is obviously not going to win, but super talented, high flyer, can probably do a lot. He's probably going to get a lot of ladders to the ribs.
Yeah, but like you said about Ricochet, good. I'm glad he's in the match, though. Great.
Butch, Pete Dunne, just an awesome wrestler all around, capable of 5-star matches. Again, I could see Butch winning the match, but either right before the match he says some line like in the gorilla, like, I'm not Butch, I'm Pete Dunne, and then makes the crowd go crazy, and then now he's like got this momentum and he wins. Or maybe after the match they say like, Butch, you just won Money in the Bank, like, how do you feel? Like, right there, and he's like, who the F is Butch? I'm Pete Dunne, Like, that would be what you do if you want to have Pete Dunne win this match. I don't think he's going to, but then you have Damian Priest, who was my original favorite to win the match. A logical choice, Damian Priest. He could win. I could easily see Damian Priest winning this match. I would not be surprised one bit.
I know what you're gonna say.
We're not done. Hang on. LA Knight is in the match, folks.
Oh, I forgot about. He's the one where I'm gonna be like in my living room. Well, him and Nakamura. But when LA Knight is climbing that ladder, I'm going to be like rooting for him. And when he like doesn't get it, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna feel those because I just want him to win.
LA Knight is my personal choice. If I was in like the booking meeting and they were like, who do you want to win? Like, who do you vote for, right? I don't know how they do all this politicking and stuff. I would say, LA Knight, you dummy.
Yes, you have to say it that way.
Shoes of a champion. You see these shoes? Shoes of a champion. You see this shirt? Shoes of a champion.
He just makes anything work. Give him the briefcase.
I would say, you have my endorsement right now. Put the briefcase on LA Knight. That's what I would say.
Yes.
That's how I would book this. But unfortunately, I am not booking this match. I wish I was, folks. So, I already know who's going to win this match. And I said it. I said what I said because I saw what I saw. And Logan Paul, folks, is going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I think it's just easier if we accept it now and just move on?
Literally, we were so excited about the participants in this match for so long, and now Logan Paul's in it, and he's gonna win it. You're right, and it's just so sad.
Like that scene on Raw where Logan Paul's coming up next. It's like, okay, Logan Paul's coming back. I wonder who he's going to wrestle at Money in the Bank. And then he's on the screen and he's on top of a ladder. It's like, it's written in stone.
Ugh.
It's not written in pen. It's written in stone.
I have been hearing that a certain Paul Triple H Levesque does not want Logan Paul to win, but lots of people want him to win in the company, so I'm thinking that's Vince McMahon. So who knows?
I've been seeing that too, where there's this whole Triple H and Vince. I mean, you would presume Triple H and Vince. It's not like who else is going to be breathing down Triple H's neck with decisions? Like, hey, you better bring back the European title, and it's like, calm down, William Regal.
Yeah, right.
Like, why are you in here? Like, you can't threaten me. William Regal's just standing there with the brass knucks in the meeting, like, you better bring back the European title. Like, no one is going to do that to Triple H and thus the creative decision making except Vince McMahon, right?
Yeah.
So I've been seeing the rumors too about, well, there are some people who want this to happen and other people who want this to happen. And I just don't see enough tangible evidence on screen to be able to put my piece on the board to say like there are some things like the booking of these matches, the participants in these matches. I would guess these are Triple H choices, so to speak, right? Like I said, there's no Kane, there's no Baron Corbin, there's no Otis, there's no James Ellsworth, there's no joke gimmicky people in these matches. That to me is a Triple H hallmark sign, like a telltale Triple H thing where he's actually just putting people in matches that are in a pecking order, right?
Yeah.
But there are some things where it's like, well, if LA Knight wins, does that mean it was a Triple H call, or is Damian Priest the Triple H choice to win? I don't have enough. Who do you think wants Logan Paul to win? If you have to just recklessly speculate, who's in backstage? Who wants Logan Paul to win this match?
Vince McMahon, Nick Khan.
Nick Khan, yes.
Yeah, that's probably it. And maybe what's his face? How am I gonna think of his name? Dunn.
Possibly. But then you have Damian Priest, which he's definitely seems like a Triple H guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think it's so sad though, is because anyone else who could win besides Logan Paul is that's fine. Triple H is a Triple H guy. And the one guy who isn't is gonna win. That's the worst part.
Well, who's LA Knight's boy? Who's rooting for LA Knight backstage?
I know what you mean, but I think they're just gonna the other 6 guys are we can put on a good match. Let's be logical about it. And then it's just Logan Paul, and everyone's like, well, what if Logan Paul has a briefcase? TMZ will look into that or something,
Well, of course, yeah. And obviously you can have Jake Paul as well with Logan Paul. It's
oh God.
So yeah, so yes, I think we're on the same page as far as Logan Paul. But again, we're seeing these rumors online. There are people that are pitching hard. What are they doing? Are they walking around with like a video iPad? Look at this 2-minute clip I made of LA Knight here.
You're right.
He needs to be in the forefront of your mind before you walk into that meeting. That's what I don't have. I'm not confident enough to speculate. If I see LA Knight go out on Raw next week and take a pinfall loss in 5 seconds, I don't know who made, there's certain things.
Yeah.
Because some of these Vince decisions, just to go off a little bit, some of these rumors about how Vince is changing things up again, allegedly, according to, I think it was Fightful, Vince McMahon changed Raw a few weeks ago when Tommaso Ciampa came back. Ciampa was supposed to answer the open challenge for Seth Rollins and have a match, a very good world title match against Seth Rollins. Vince allegedly changed that to Finn Balor coming out and beating up Seth Rollins. But I didn't hate that. So that goes against everything I've learned, which is Vince bad, Hunter good. So it's kind of becoming this weird thing where, what I think? I think the reality is Triple H is putting these pieces on the board. So even when Vince screws them up, he can only screw them up so much because Triple H is kind of like I said, there's no Kane here.
Yeah.
There's nobody for Vince to say okay, we're gonna do, the Kiss My Ass Club tonight. it's not really set up that way. So Vince can come in and change aspects, but what's he gonna do? Go hire Glenn Jacobs, and say like, I want Kane in the match? Like he can't make these big. He could theoretically still make these big moves, but it's just not really baked into the process where, like, Triple H is more or less in charge of the roster. So when Vince wants to change the show, he's only got the roster that Triple H put together, basically. So there's more point. Triple H with Vince kind of, like I said, screwing things up, but only to a certain degree, it seems like.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. And at the very least, with Logan Paul in the match, if he doesn't win, it's great because we can really, really just hate. Like, every time he tries to climb the ladder, we can just have a nice reaction, like a visceral hatred for it. So that'll make another interesting point in the match.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun match. I think that's kind of the point of putting these, really talented performers all in a match, is so that way it's as good as it could possibly be.
Yes.
Even if at the end you botch it,
It's happened before. Is Logan Paul worse than Baron Corbin with the briefcase? I don't know.
Would it be worse than Otis?
No, at least Otis is doing some fun stuff. But yeah, no, you're right, exactly.
So now let's get to the main event, the Bloodline Civil War. This is another one that has rumors abound about this tag team match. The Bloodline, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa with Paul Heyman versus Jimmy and Jay, the Usos. So this build has been amazing for this story. The Jimmy Uso and Jay Uso, the separation from the Bloodline, has been awesome. They've had some of the best moments in the whole Bloodline story recently. That Jimmy Uso turning on Roman Reigns at Night of Champions, and then that, Jay Uso and Jimmy Uso double super kicking Roman Reigns. Amazing. Some of the best stuff in wrestling, going back a very long time, in my opinion. And overall, the Bloodline story really is one of the best stories WWE has ever done. And this should be a good match. What I'm interested in is what they do in the match. Like, this is the Usos versus Roman Reigns. What are they going to do? How do you make these guys look good as one of the best tag teams ever of all time? But then you have the longest reigning champion, since Bruno or whomever at this point. How do the Usos basically beat the Bloodline? How do the Usos beat Roman Reigns, which is what they need to do?
I think the only way you can do it is for Solo to turn.
Oh, okay. So I was not even thinking that. I did not have that one written down. That's good. That's why I bring you into these booking meetings.
That's what I think. That's what I would do, but it all depends on where they're going with it. Like if Reigns is going to be like a solo guy, no pun intended. If he's going to be by himself, though, but maybe that's how it leads to him losing the title. That's where my head's at. But if they're going to keep the belt on Reigns for longer, then I don't think you can do that.
I don't think we've seen enough dissension for Solo I don't think he's thinking on his own just yet. Maybe that will come down the line. That would be an interesting twist, a turn. But yeah, my original, the easiest way out of this is, unfortunately, you have to have Solo take another pinfall loss, right? If the Usos are going to win. But because the alternative is, if Roman and Solo beat the Usos, then what are you setting up for SummerSlam? Nothing.
Yeah.
So you would think there needs to be some cliffhanger, something to continue the story for the choice, which is, to me, obvious, of Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso at this year's SummerSlam. So I don't really think you're setting up Jey Uso well with a loss, unless there's some crazy schmaz finish where, maybe Jimmy Uso, right, takes the pinfall loss somehow. Maybe they handcuff Jey Uso and he can't get into the match. But my first thought was, Solo's taking another pinfall loss. Then I thought, they can't do that, though. It's the obvious choice. So then it's is it possible that Roman Reigns actually takes the pinfall loss in this match? Is it possible?
No.
I think it is. I think it's
possible.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I can see a way where they do that, because it would be so what the heck just happened kind of a thing, you know?
I mean, you're right, though. If they're going to set up Jay versus Roman at SummerSlam, I think Roman should take the loss.
And also, one other thing, obviously, it goes against logic to have your 1,000-plus day dominant record-setting world champion just lose, right? But at the same time, this dude hasn't defended this championship since WrestleMania. How are you hurting him any more than that?
Yeah.
You know, a loss in like the most epic way possible is worse than him. It's like, oh, well, we can't have him, you know, defend the title. Okay, well, he hasn't, so not defending the championship to me is just as detrimental to this title reign as a non-title loss, especially in this context.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's going to win this match.
I don't either. I'm starting to think, though, like, maybe it is the obvious. Maybe Solo takes the loss, and then Reigns gets mad at Solo, and he starts to poke at him, and then eventually Solo turns on Roman. Maybe that's where it starts.
And then the question we will find out the answer to is, how would Triple H * Vince McMahon book this match? And we will find that out on Saturday at Money in the Bank.
That's a good segue. Well done.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not going to... If I had to pick, I'd pick the Usos.
I think they're going to win, too.
Yeah, oh, and then just as far as shenanigans, surprises, stuff like that, there are also some rumors. There's rumors of, you know, possible returns, right? Will we see the return of Randy Orton? Will we see the return of Drew McIntyre?
I think we will. I don't know how. Yeah, but I think McIntyre's going to be there some way.
We'll see if WWE decides to pull anything else at Money in the Bank. So yeah, I think, is that going to be all we got here? Yeah, I think that about does it for this episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for hanging out till the end of the show here. We will be back. We will be reviewing Money in the Bank. We'll talk more about Sting and his death-defying dives as we get closer to All In and All Out. So if you haven't already, be kind, like, and subscribe. We really need you to hit the like button on the video. I mean, come on. You're looking at my face right now. What's stopping you from hitting that like button? Nothing. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. And, yeah, we won't have any problems. What does this button do?